After 2 years of running the ASG Steyr Scout in the field through woodland skirmishes, rain, snow, and everything in between, I've got a solid picture of what this rifle is really capable of. This isn't going to be like a hype review or a first impressions take. This is going to be my long-term, real-world use, and today I'm going to break down where the Scout shines, where it struggles, and whether it still earns its place in my kit. So why did I choose the Steyr Scout initially? So I picked up the Steyr Scout because I wasn't looking for the sort of most upgraded meta rifle on the market. I wanted something out of the box that was going to perform really, really well. Something that looked a little bit different, platform with a kind of unique design, fairly lightweight, and something that stood out from all of the VSR builds. The real steel version of the Scout is obviously really iconic from games like CSGO, and ASG's replica keeps a lot of that iconic character and that iconic look. It obviously has like the top rail, the built-in bipod, and it has a very sort of distinct silhouette. And it brought something different to the table for me. It caught my eye because of how different it looked and because I never really saw anybody else with the Scout. When I first got the rifle out of the box, it felt really, really solid. It has a reinforced polymer chassis. It has fairly good internal construction. There's a really, really smooth bolt pull. You can kind of throw it around as well, and you're going to be confident that it's not going to break. The weight is surprisingly balanced. You're not going to be like dragging around something super heavy in the field, but it does still feel substantial. I think it comes in at about 3 kilos without any peripherals or anything else on it. So it's still fairly weighty, but it's not as if you're carrying around a massive, 5 kilo rifle. The bipod it's there, it works. I don't tend to use it in practice. It's not terrible, but it's not very tactical either. For my playstyle, I'm running around quite a lot, I'm repositioning quite a lot, looking for low profile shooting. It's just a bit in the way for me. But for somebody who's wanting to camp out a little bit more, wanting to stick in one specific spot, the bipod is actually a really nice inclusion as well. Okay, so what everybody is probably most interested in is performance. And to be just very transparent, the only upgrade that I've put in the Scout that I have is a H-nub. So talking about performance, I use 4 5 gram BBs, sometimes for 8 grams. And I can get reliable shots up to about 80 meters reliably, and then my max hit is probably around about 100 meters. You may be able to push it a bit more if wind is in your favor, but it's probably about reliable for me. 80 to 100 is where I would say this is reliably hitting targets. Where this really started to click for me, where the Scout really started to click, is how it sort of handled during movements and when I was running around and repositioning. It's light enough that you can keep mobile, and that's kind of my play style. I really like keeping mobile, moving ahead. I'm often quite far in front of the rest of my team, so I'm taking on a scout role as a scout sniper. And it keeps me mobile and is short enough to stay out of the way when I'm in like a thick brush and trying to sneak around. And it's just sturdy overall. So for somebody, a sniper in particular, who values agility over sitting in one spot all day and waiting for people to come along, that kind of really mattered to me. And something else that I think is also quite underrated is how smooth the bolt pull is and how quick the bolt pull is. You can really fire off shots quite quickly with this rifle, and that's quite important if you are trying to take multiple shots all at the same time or one after the other. If there are multiple people you're shooting at, or if you miss a shot and then you need to take one again quickly, the bolt pull is smooth enough that you can fire a shot off, rack another one in, and then fire another shot off relatively quickly. And sometimes that can make the difference. I think when you're talking about any airsoft rifle, obviously talking about the good parts is important, but I think it's equally as important to talk about some things that maybe not, aren't necessarily as good. And one thing that is very much not as good is the ability to upgrade and mod your Steyr Scout. Obviously, with the VSR clones and VSRs and everything like that, there are so many different parts that you can swap out and add in. There's loads of aftermarket parts, and you can customize as and when you want, really. That's not the case with the Steyr Scout. Most of the parts that I've found are proprietary, means you aren't going to be able to upgrade them as easily. There aren't as many aftermarket parts, and trying to customize and upgrade it is going to be difficult. That's not so bad for me because I'm not really a modder. I've got a build at the moment that I'm working on, my TAC 41 Sportlight, that I'm dabbling in the kind of like upgrading and my project piece. But that's not really a problem for me on the Scout because I wanted something that was really good out of the box, which this is. But if you're somebody who likes upgrading and modding your rifles, this one probably isn't going to be the one for you. Let's talk about some reliability and longevity now. So in terms of durability of the rifle, I have no real complaints. I've dragged it through brambles, through bushes, dirt, it's gotten wet. I've taken a fairly heavy fall with it and landed on it. I've dropped it a number of times. It still performs fantastically, just as it did out of the box. All of the external wear is fairly cosmetic. Internally, the only thing that I've had to replace is hot rubber. That's it. Everything else has held up really well. Piston is great. Trigger box has been fantastic. The bolt pull is great. I haven't really had to worry about this thing breaking at all. And I think it's held up better than I would have expected for a rifle in the price point that I have. It's obviously came out at about £400. I don't know what that is in dollars, but for about £400, a rifle that's that good out of the box, that you don't have to upgrade, and that has lasted 2 years without anything breaking so far, I think it's kind of earned its keep. So, 2 years in, would I still recommend the ASG Steyr Scout? If you're looking for a lightweight, reliable, and field-ready sniper rifle that doesn't follow the crowd, this one is probably a really solid pick for you, especially if you're the kind of player who values mobility and wants something different from the standard VSR lineup. But if you're a tech-heavy sniper who plans to rebuild all the internal parts from the ground up and swap out things as and when you want, there are definitely better platforms out there for that kind of custom work, I would say. If you've been using the Scout or you're thinking about picking one up, let me know what your experience has been down in the comments. I'm always keen to hear how it's working for others in the field. If this review helped, consider subscribing to the channel. I post, long form gameplay videos and some other reviews as well. Thanks very much for watching. I'm that ghillie guy. I'll see you out on the field.